Hey, this is Ricky. I'm the CEO at Talentek. Talentek is composed of two subsidiaries, Talentek and Talentek. Talentek is a global employer of record. Talentek, it's a SaaS platform specially built for logistics companies. This is our 5th year in business, and I'm excited to be here sharing some of my life story with you. So a little bit about my history. I was born and raised in Medellin, Colombia in 1981. I studied business administration in EAFIT University. I did my internship in the US, in Miami, in a freight forwarding company, and that's how the logistics world started for me. And I spent a year in Miami working for that company. They liked my work and they said, well, you can have a full-time job after you graduate in Colombia. And that's what I did. I finished up my studies and I moved to Miami. That was, like 19 years ago, I guess. I spent about 7 years in that company, an international freight forwarding consolidator, and I did a good job. I think I learned a lot in the business. I went from an operations position up to being the vice president of that company, and very specifically vice president of sales. I built a big sales team, but then I said, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be owner of my life, and in terms of work and in terms of working for myself and building my own destiny. So I remember I had a conversation with my former boss and I said, well, I want to build my own business. And I even proposed a business idea to him that never materialized. And in the end, it was time for me to go and build my own company. I built a company called 1A Intermodal, which we then changed the name to 1A Transportation Group. We did a lot of heavy hauling and LTL, and that was our main specialty. We became very good at moving over-dimensional freight, overweight freight, and then we grew the business to about 12 million in revenue. And about 6 years ago, I guess, a little bit over 6 years ago, we decided to merge our business with another company that also used to have an operations service delivery center in Colombia. So we built most of our operations, except for a few sales positions, in Colombia. The company that we merged with also had operation in Colombia, and we decided to merge, and we hired a consultant called Joel McGinley for that process. Joel is my current partner and co-founder of Talentek as well. And he started advising on the merger process, on the valuation process, and he came down to Colombia for the process and the execution of the merger. And he immediately fell in love with the concept of having people in Colombia, which we used to have like 15 or 20 years ago. And he said, well, there's a business opportunity here. You guys have a business opportunity of selling this concept of remote operations to most of my clients. He used to coach back then more than 100 clients in transportation, and he was a veteran. He used to run DAT, Truck Stop, and a few other companies in his career. So we said, well, it's a good idea, but we're so busy building our business, building our brokerage, and we don't have time for that, right? So we started thinking more on running different ideas of how it could work, who will run it. And we came to the conclusion that it was time for me to run that business. And we basically spun off this new concept or this new company idea called Talentek out of that merger. And let me go back in time as well, because I also want to talk about the failures, which is important in the CEO's journey. Not everything is success in the entrepreneurship world. We used to run a carrier operation as well. We thought that since we were doing brokerage pretty well, we could also do well on the asset side, and it was a complete failure. We almost went bankrupt with the whole business, actually, and we had to close that operation. We went up to, I think it was about 50 trucks between owner-operators and owned trucks, and we closed that business in 2018. We also ran a couple other failures or failed companies. One was furniture e-commerce distributor, and we also ran an MRO operation, which is a maintenance, repair, and operations distributor for Latin American businesses. So those are kind of the two failures I remember. But going back to the Talentek idea, it was a great idea that we formed. We always wanted to have the technology component baked in with the talent component. We started with the talent piece only, so what it is called today, Talentek, or what we know as Talentek. Then we added the tech product, which is Tabi Connect. It was about 3 years ago, and it's been a blessing. It's been a great journey. I feel super proud of the team and the culture we have built. And we're just starting, and I feel that we have so much things to do, so much to conquer. We just basically want to spread all across the world in the two businesses, especially in Talentek, which is the global employer of record. We want to become this concept of an orchestrator and a matching service and a platform to facilitate the employees and the employer's journey in terms of recruiting, payroll, management of the worldwide labor talent and talent pool. And with Tabi, we have a big vision of becoming an automation provider and an automation platform for every aspect of the life cycle in the journey of logistics companies. So we're very excited about our future. It hasn't been easy. The past 2 years have been challenging in transportation, but we are so bold about the future and about the opportunity we have ahead of us. Advice I wish I had received that's a tricky one. I think patience. I'm a very impatient person. I've gotten better through the years and in my leadership journey. But back in the days, I was super impatient. I thought that I needed everything now. Everything had to happen now. And that's one of the things as a leader and as an entrepreneur, as a CEO, you need to have is patience, right? And it's that vision that will materialize, being bold about it, but making sure you have the patience to wait for it to materialize, and things will come. And I'm a very big believer in the universe providing what you need at the time you need it. And that's one of the things I didn't understand early on, and I got highly frustrated by not getting the goals or not achieving what I wanted to achieve, but also stressing my peers, coworkers, employees at the same time, right? And that's one of the things I think I could have done better. And yeah, I think waiting for the things that are going to be provided to you at the right time, and if you just work with passion, it will come, it will materialize, sometimes in a different way, but it will always materialize. So yeah, that's one of the big learning curves I had to get to this point and be a more patient person. Moments that define my career. I think there's probably 4 that I remember. The one big milestone in my life was when I moved to the US. I didn't know anything about logistics, anything about professional work. I used to work in different gigs in Colombia when I was living in Colombia, but nothing too serious, right? And when I faced kind of this new phase of my life, saying, well, now I'm a professional, and now you're in a big country, foreign country, you're on your own, right? You're basically severed off your family, and now you're on your own. And I think that matured me a lot as a person, as a leader, and kind of made me who I am today. That's the first one. Second one was when I decided to be an entrepreneur and not any longer an employee of a company. That was painful. That was challenging. I remember that my ex-wife, she started like working for our own business before I did, and we relied on my salary 100% in that company. But when I decided to kind of jump into this new world, unknown world, and not having a fixed salary or a known way of making money other than just struggling and hustling and selling outside, that was a very defining moment for me, for my family, but it was a blessing in the end. Then the third one, I think it was the merger that we went through about 6 years ago, 5.5, 6 years ago. It was a very big move. It was a very bold move. I remember I said to my former partners and employees, I said, well, this is the moment where we like drop our ego of being the sole owners of a company, and we join forces with somebody else, perhaps at a different level, at a different participation, but also the change of roles, right? I became vice president and CTO of that company, but I was no longer the CEO. I was no longer making the decisions for the company alone. So I had to go through a very challenging personal time of like beating my own ego, but I knew deep within that was the right move. That was the right move to scale, leverage, and grow faster together. And I think that was one very enlightening moment in my life and helped my career and my CEO journey. And then the fourth one, I think, is a very recent one. In earlier this year, 2024, we decided to spin off the company in two, or divide the company in two. So let me explain that a bit. So we used to offer the two services together, the talent and the technology piece together, but it was very confusing for the marketplace. And it was very confusing to us, and the structure was blurred, and also the enterprise value got hit because we offer SaaS in one hand and services, tech-enabled services in another hand, but it was two different things. Perhaps some shared customers, some of the same customers, but in the end, those are two different products, right? So two different ways of structuring the business. When you're trying to build a world-class SaaS organization, very different to a services organization. So I think that's the fourth one, and the one that I think changed the way we do business, the way we're gonna grow, the way we approach different investors based on their appetite. So I think that was a very big moment in our lives in the company. Teamwork. So yeah, this is a very important one for me. And I didn't have a teamwork philosophy before in my early entrepreneur life. And I used to do things alone, right? I used to say, wrongfully, well, I can do it myself. Why would I team up with somebody else or empower somebody else or delegate to somebody else this job, this task, this activity, right? And I used to be kind of a lone wolf in terms of things that I said, I can do it better, so I'll do it myself. But that was wrong, right? And through the years, I learned that through teamwork, you can go faster, you can achieve goals faster, and it actually became one of our corporate core values at Talentek. And we do live teamwork over here. We can't do everything ourselves. We don't know it all. I don't know it all, right? And I know a lot of things, but I don't know a lot of other things. And the things that we don't know that we can then complement with other people's knowledge, we can really get there faster. And it's so teamwork for me and for the organization, it's paramount. And we rather have camaraderie, and we rather have team members that are like very open to working with others and sharing and communicating and have these links between them. And if we don't, I mean, they don't belong here. We don't like people that are just acting alone and making decisions alone. One of my decision-making techniques is that I always ask, what's your opinion? What's your opinion? What's your opinion in this decision? I rarely make decisions alone. Even with my direct reports, with my C-level, and even with other people, I always share what I think about a problem and what my decision will be. But I ask and challenge, hey, what do you think? How will you solve this issue? And I listen, right? And I get other people's ideas and point of views, and I usually take them as information in my decision-making process. And usually, not that we make 100% the right decisions every time, but usually those decisions, since they're composed of the different truths, they become better decisions at solving different problems. So teamwork is highly important for me, and I just need to keep pushing hard into that particular core value in the business. And yeah, it's important for every organization to grow faster and scale. Philosophy in life. So I'm a big believer in energy, manifestation, the universe providing what you need, and having the passion to achieve something, right? And I think energy is real, right? And you can feel it, you can manifest it, you can almost like tweak the reality to become what you want. And that I try to preach every time to my associates. My partner and coach, Joel McGinley, he's a very big teacher about energies and manifestation, and it's almost esoteric or mystic in a way. But I truly believe that once you once you want something, once you visualize something, you manifest it, you draw it, you declare it, those energies start to get formed, and that gets formed into the new reality you're wanting to manifest. And I'm a big believer in positivity and focus, and through focusing in those energies that are going to be manifested in something you want, and you do it in a positive stance, you're always positive no matter what the problem, no matter what the situation, the outside noise, you're always going to get to where you need to go. And I think sometimes the universe shows you the way where you didn't expect, and that's manifestation, right? And that's the manifestation of the energy you are transferring to the world, and you're basically the owner of your own destiny. I'm a big believer in not being a victim of the world, and not being a victim of the universe, but manifesting your own destiny and creating your own destiny. So motivation in challenges. So as I said before, I'm a big believer in manifestation and being positive about getting where you want to go, no matter what the problem around. So I usually see problems as opportunities. I of course can grow more there, but when you have a problem, you can either see it as a challenge and stay focused in the problem, or you can see it as an opportunity to improve, or an opportunity to get better or find a new way, and focus in solution mode, right? And we preach that a lot here in the organization, where we have a lot of problems, we have a lot of challenges, sometimes outside challenges, sometimes internal deficiencies. But if we focus on them as an opportunity, we always look or find a way to solve the problem, right? And I think that's what differentiates like victims from winners. It's like, yes, everyone will have problems, personal life, business, financial problems, but if you look at them as opportunities, you always are focusing on the solution and solving that problem, and it usually gets solved. So advices to entrepreneurs, current and future, right? Because there might be a desire to be an entrepreneur. I think as I mentioned before, patience is one. Things will get to you at the right time. You just gotta wait, not passively, right? Not just sit around and say, well, they're gonna come. Well, you gotta work hard to make them a reality, but they will come at the right time, and they will always come. So patience is one. Another one, I think it's important, it's fear. And so fear is a creation in our own minds, right? We always have this tendency to think that every reason why it's not possible, right? Why we are not able to achieve something, every reason why the universe is not giving us what we need, every reason why we can't take the leap and start our own business. There's nothing wrong to being an employee, don't get me wrong. But once you have that passion internally, and that's the other thing, passion, you gotta have passion. Every entrepreneur needs passion in their tool set. You overcome fear, and you say, well, fear is a creation of my mind. It's not gonna materialize that way. It's I can do it. I am. The I am statement is very important, where you place yourself in the future and say, I am that person I want to be. So I am an entrepreneur. I am a successful business owner. My business is already selling to a lot of clients. And once you start believing and switching your internal belief system and shaving fear off the mindset you have, I think that's when magic happens and everything changes. So again, passion, no fear, stands towards business, believe that you can do it and that you will do it. And I think those are like key traits for a successful entrepreneur. Okay, thanks for having me. I think it was a great experience in sharing some of my life here with you, and I hope it was enlightening for your journey or the things you want to do. And yeah, see you in the next session. I'll be hoping to be more involved with recording things here in the company and helping some people out to achieve their dreams through example and coaching as well. So thanks for that, and see you around.